how much would you be willing to give to change your future? For the first 19 years of my life, I was severely underweight throughout all of it. All my life, I've kind of just been extremely skinny, extremely thin, like barely any muscle on my body. Um, and at first, like, I didn't really mind it. I didn't really care, you know. It means I could do things bigger people couldn't, like run a lot faster, fit through burglar bars, put my hands in places other people couldn't reach. Until I got to high school and people started treating me differently. Um, Girls would kind of make fun of how skinny I was. They'd put their fingers around my wrists. I used to get called a flagpole in high school because I was just tall, skinny, and had a big head. Um, and that's kind of where like a lot of my insecurities came in. It wasn't just looking small, but it was being weak that affected me the most. For my entire life, since kindergarten, I've experienced bullying in so many different kinds of forms. I remember when I was in kindergarten, there was this one kid. He had a weird name. He had what was the name? Can't remember it, but he would push me around and he'd always want to play fight and he'd always take it too far. And one day, as it was time to go home, he pushed me to the ground and he started standing on me and he started jumping on my body like I was a trampoline. And I remember at this moment, my like as this guy was busy jumping on me, hurting me, like physically abusing me, I realized that I was too afraid to fight back because I knew he was bigger than me. I knew he was stronger than me. And I didn't want to give my best in case I lost. And I remember my mom walking into like the play area where they pick us up and she saw me. And I mean, yeah, she sorted it out. She told the guy to stop. But I remember feeling so ashamed that my mother had to see me be so weak, be so frail. My mother had to see me lose. And this kind of anxiety only carried on as I grew older. I was not only afraid to try new things, but I was afraid to stand up for myself because even if I felt like my point was strong, I felt like I was so weak that anything people would say to me would kind of penetrate and hit directly where it hurts the most, my heart. So when I felt insulted, when people used to bully me, there was somebody who when I got to like middle school, um, there were a bunch of kids at my school that were kind of racist and they would do things like throw yogurt on my PE kit or pull my pants down while we were playing sports. And I remember just having to laugh it off because I knew that I couldn't do anything to these guys even if I tried. They were bigger than me, they were stronger than me, they were faster, they were more confident than me. What was I gonna do? I can't even stand up for myself. They must be picking on me for some reason. It must be because I am weak. And this kind of anxiety only eats at you further and further and further, even up until my high school and my graduation. I'll never forget when I started dating um, this girl in high school. She had a friend who was a senior of ours, and there was a day where he came up to me while she was there, and he was like, "Oh, yo, you know, I could kill your boyfriend right now if I wanted to, right? He's so weak, you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. And I remember being so confused, like, why me? Why do people always say these things to me? What's wrong with me? What's what makes me so different from everybody else? Why do I have to get bullied like this? And he said this to me, and my girlfriend just looked at me. And because she was around, I had to try, put on a brave face, act tough. And I said, no, what are you talking about? No, you can't. You're not gonna do that. And he starts walking up to me, starts looking down at me. He's like, are you sure you want to find out? I could kill you with your bare hands, Andrew, and there's nothing on this earth that you could do about it. And those words still stick with me to this day. And it's not the fact that he was right. He was a lot bigger than me. He was a lot taller. He was a lot stronger than me. It wasn't that stuck with me. It was the fact that I was too weak to even stand up for myself, even if I knew I was going to lose. That hurt the most. You're too weak to do this. You're too weak to do anything about this. I never want to hear those words again. And it took literally up until the last day of high school when I realized, oh, college is coming around, adulthood is coming around. I never pictured myself in my head as a grown adult or as a father who was just going to be this tall, skinny guy who was too shy to confront people, too shy to do anything about the situation he was in. So I started wanting change. I started wanting more from myself. And that's when I started lifting. I believe it was November 2023, the day before my high school prom, last day of school. And ever since then, lifting has just done so much for me. I started eating. I started working out. I started growing out my hair all at the same time. And the benefits I got for that were so much more than just a good physique, so much more than just better looks or more confidence. I gained a sense of self. And working out and proving to myself that I could adhere through times of adversity, that I could endure, that I could put myself in a stressful situation and still come out on top, has given me so much strength. Not just like physically, but mentally, spiritually. It allowed me to have the confidence to speak to a microphone, to speak at my church, to speak to my family, to speak to my peers, to educate, to help, to make friends that I would never have made in a million years if I stayed the same person I was, if I stayed that weak, little, stupid idiot who couldn't stand up for himself, who would just take the bullying because he was too weak here and too weak here to do anything about it. Now, it's been about 2.5 years since then, and now I'm starting to reap a lot of the benefits of the investments I'd made back in the past. I am confident enough to post somewhat, you know. I'm I've reaped the benefits of looking better. I've made friends that probably would never even look in my direction if they saw what I was like in high school. I've gained the confidence to stand up for myself in situations, to know who I am, what I want, and what I stand for the most part. But the job's not finished. There's still so much for me, so much room for me to grow. This is really only just the beginning. And I bring this up because even after a whole 2.5 year transformation, even after being probably the strongest I've ever been, my hair the longest, my confidence maybe not as highest, but at a pretty decent high, I've stumbled across a season where I'm struggling with really, really bad body dysmorphia right now. And it's been eating away at my daily living. I know that this is not this stagnation period I'm in where I'm not really growing anymore, where I'm just kind of going to lift, eating what I can. Um, this is not what my true limit is. I want so much more for myself. And so that's what the bulking series that I'd like to introduce is going to be about. So over the next couple weeks, months, however long it takes, I'm going to be bulking to, let's be ambitious. I'm going to be bulking to 190 pounds. As of today, Monday, I've weighed in this morning at, I believe it was 175 pounds, which should be 79.4 kilograms. And I want to gain 15 pounds, hopefully before the end of the year. Now, over the course of the last year, I've struggled so much with my eating because of this anxiety. It's been creeping back slowly. I live in a 4-bedroom apartment with some of the worst roommates you could ever imagine. And I don't want to speak too loud because they're next door, but they've made living here so unbearable that I would spend most days ordering food, like today, to avoid being in the shared areas and the common spaces because they're just so messy, they're so loud, they smoke, drink, even though these things aren't allowed to be done on the premises. I don't know these people, but when I try to explain this to them, they don't listen. And because of these things, I ended up slacking a lot this year. And that's probably why my progress hasn't been as high as it could have. But I want to make excuses for myself. I just want to see myself do so much better. And as summer begins its peak, as the fall begins to come in the next maybe 8 weeks, I'm going to be moving back onto campus, and at least there's going to be a cafeteria there, so hopefully the bulking goes along smoothly. But this series is going to be more than just about eating more. It's going to be more than just about gaining weight or gaining strength, but I want to prove to myself, I want to prove to you, and I want to have a record of the Andrew that I want to grow up to be. So yeah, that's going to be episode 0. I think we're going to do episodes on a weekly or so basis, check-ins, weigh-ins, all of that fun stuff. Just a little more information. Right now I eat about 3 times a day, sometimes 4 if I'm lucky. Well, 3 times a day if I'm on a perfect day, and then a protein shake as well. But we'll work out all the kinks in episode 1. But for now, my name's Mazi. Well, my name's Andrew, but you guys can call me Mazi, and welcome to the series. I'll see you guys in the next one.